What's up? Good morning. Ever since the video I put out last winter about everything I was doing in the off season, thought it might be a cool idea to do a full machine check of the car and go over everything I've done thus far, just to give a better idea of what I'm working with and how I chose to build this out for both the Grid Life and SCCA and 86 Cup season, and just kind of give a baseline of where I am right now to kind of measure against the future and see what I decided to do. So with that being said, let's get started. So here's how the 86 sits right now. Thinking we should start at aero first. So I'll go over to the front. I have a carbon front splitter that I made at home, actually. It was a 3/4 inch foam core with 2 layers of carbon on the top and bottom that I vacuum infused using an old sliding glass door from a closet. It's actually a lot easier than a lot of people make it out to be, especially for the wet lay. But I had a sliding glass door from from an old closet laying around that I decided to vacuum infuse this on. Just used a race bred wood splitter as kind of a template, and then extended it a bit to accommodate the new lip shape, and infused it at home. So if you ever want to take it on, Easy Composites has a lot of good tutorials about how to do that, and kind of makes the process simple for DIYers. It's held on in the locations, I guess, set out by the race bred normal mounts that they sell alongside their splitter kits, and some Pro Awesome supports on either side that just go up to the rad support. The Pro Awesome supports do compress under load, but they have really good tensile strength, so that kind of helps for any bumps you may hit on the sides. Kind of absorb that instead of sending it straight to the sheet metal mounts that RaceBred gives you. Might save you buying a few more mounts, so really recommend those. I did used to have some end plates, but they got ripped off at GTA Finals last year. You can see this one took off just the end plate by itself, and this side took the little 3D printed mount with it. And then I kind of sandwiched the splitter using some titanium skid pucks as well. So thought that was a cool idea. Do have some skid pucks in the middle as well, but kind of regret not putting them further forward as they haven't seen too much abuse, but the splitter, like leading edge, has. This is a 2D front splitter, as kind of constrained by the rules. If you wanted to, you can cut out for some splitter diffuser provisions. There's a lot of options as far as those off-the-shelf splitter diffusers go that you can just bolt in. So maybe that's something to look to in the future, but as far as the classes I'm running now, I'm just trying to keep a 2D profile for this time. The lip is just the C West 86 front lip. Really extended the stock bumper a good amount. And I know within the rules, some people consider the OEM bumper front edge as the kind of point where you mark out 3 inches from there, as we're only allowed a 3-inch front protrusion of the splitter. But after talking to the guys in charge of the rules there, this one seems to be legal as well, as it's kind of molded into the front bumper. As far as hood goes, I do have just the OEM hood. They are aluminum, so you don't save too much weight by going carbon, especially if it's like some of those fiberglass carbon type hoods. You don't really save any. So I just decided to stick with the stock aluminum hood, and then throw on the Ansix Auto GR Cup hood vent and some Ready Go Next vents above those, just for some heat extraction and, you know, in theory, some front lift reduction from the high pressure zone in the bay. Being able to exit rather than just kind of push up on the bottom side of the hood there. On the sides, I have the Veris over fenders, front and rear. If you're ever thinking about doing these, I suggest just cutting both your front and rear as well, so you can actually get some more run, either a wider wheel, increase your track width, or anything like that, because they make you bolt them on anyway. So if you're sending holes through your OEM fenders and rear quarters, in my opinion, you might as well just cut it. So these are kind of if you do it, you kind of have to stay wide body unless you really make efforts to change that. So went there. And then the side skirts are the HKS Type S side skirts. It was one of the first things I did in the car, more as a stylistic choice. I really like how they look, as this this little rear rocker portion has like this this fin that comes up, and underneath this little protrusion of the side skirt, it's more inset from factory, and that was just kind of the main thing I didn't like about these cars, but this fills that in perfectly. So more of a stylistic choice, but one of my favorite for sure, especially that carbon front piece. The side mirrors are just the June Auto side mirrors. It does save some frontal area, I guess, on paper, and some weight, but don't think there's any like substantial aero gain or nothing there. Rear wing is the RS Future rear wing. Right now it's set at a pretty conservative angle, even maybe a negative angle of attack right now, but gonna have to tune that up after the ride height change I made, or more so the rake change I made. But we'll be tuning that at an upcoming event next weekend with Doghouse, just to see how it feels and to correct the aero balance. Else, just have the rear diffuser cut out, both for looks and I guess technically it'll provide some less drag, but haven't noticed anything immediately when doing that. But I do think it looks much more aggressive from the rear with the stock diffuser cut out. Moving on to suspension. Have some great help from both Race Comp and Southwave Auto Salon with suspension parts choice and setup. Going over the alignment first is a -4 degree front camber, -2.8 rear camber. Up to the rear camber by like 0.3 this time around. I'm gonna see how that feels in the upcoming events. As in the past, I was running -2.5 rear camber, so we'll see how that does. As far as toe goes, just like a 16th edge toe in the rear and 0 toe in the front. As far as alignment goes, and then corner balanced by Southwave as well. In the front, I have the SPL front lower control arms. Those give a lot of geometry correction if you were to lower your car substantially. Not both, but roll center, the bump steer, and front dive changes are allowed to make with these little spacers that they give, that you just kind of stack up to change the pivot angle. Not the pivot angle, but I guess the angle in which the suspension mounts to the chassis. So it corrects those. The front and rear sway bar are from Race Comp as well as their end links. Their end links give a big amount of adjustment compared to some others on the market that let you really get that flat bar angle at ride height. So that's really good. From last year, I also raised the car about a ½ inch just for these bumpy tracks. In the past, I was bottoming out a lot, so having a little, I don't think it's a little, but having a ½ inch more leeway as far as some stiffer spring rates this year, I think is going to give me the extra cushion I need. In the past, I was at an 8K square spring rate all around, and this year I'm actually at a 13K rear and 12K front. So a pretty big jump from the past, but the super soft rate in the previous setup had me kind of bouncing all over the place and needing to turn up the damping a lot. So I think this is going to be much more controlled and sharper, of course, as well, for all of these really harsh tracks we have in SoCal. To kind of compensate in the past, I was running a harder bar rate, I guess, in the past with just the adjustment provisions that Race Comp has. But now I'm going to try it out with the full stiff on, of course, these thicker than OEM sway bars, and adjust from there. So kind of starting from scratch a little bit here with the things I learned in the past, and then I'm going to tune it to hopefully be better than before, of course. In the rear, I have SPL lower control arms and Cusco rear upper control arms. And both of those control arms, as well as the lower control arms and camber plates in the front, have allowed me to increase the total track width of the car by a solid margin. In the past, the wheels were sitting at about the same fitment that they are right now, but I do not run any spacers anymore. So having that wider stance with room to grow a little bit with addition of spacers. I think it's going to give me a wider track width that these cars really like, especially in the front. The front from factory is actually narrower than the rear, so that kind of biases front push. So hopefully gonna see that front grip come back without spacers at all, which is something I look forward to. So starting off with kind of the big thing a lot of people worry about with these cars are the oil pressure dropping under high G right-hand turns. So people really emphasize this kind of at the start of this chassis life cycle when they first came out. I think it stopped a lot of people from buying them, but the community's been working hard on how to on figuring out some solutions for that. I ended up going with just an AccuSum setup, as well as a 1-quart overfill. Looking at data, there's kind of two ways that I measure this. One is with the Gerald Just Project's oil pressure sensor, and they have a box that sends the data to the OEM dash using their own little parameters set as far as oil pressure goes at a certain RPM. If it drops under a certain threshold, it'll actually light up the oil light on the dash. So if you ever notice it go under threshold while driving, just gives you some extra feedback that something's not quite right. On top of that too, it's logged with the JGP through the CAN system, so I can pull it on the AIM for really good data there as well. I have noticed it be, I guess, under the SAFA limit sometimes, but having that light pop up and being able to see it on the AIM and after the fact on the laptop really helps as well. I haven't seen it get bad enough to warrant a full header and oil pan change, as I still have the stock oil pan as well as a header that would need to change if I went to like the Formula Delta oversized pan or Varus or something like that. But the time being, I just have the stock pan with the AccuSump and an overfill. Didn't want to have to change out all the headers to be able to run that oversized pan just yet, so maybe something in the future, or God forbid some irreparable damage happens, we'll probably have to go that route. Else under here, since we just talked about suspension, have a aluminum strut tower bar and firewall brace. In the past I just had the OEM firewall braces and a Cusco front strut bar. This one, however, saves a lot of weight versus the Cusco strut tower bar. I didn't measure it exactly, but it felt somewhere like 7 to 10 pounds just from that, and taking it off the front end of the car really helps, as because it's a front engine rear wheel drive car, most of the weight's biased to the front, so I think that's going to help a lot. Haven't driven it on track with this setup just yet, but I hope to feel that lighter front end. Moving on to powertrain upgrades of this car, I guess starting at exhaust, I do have a first gen HKS equal length header that I was able to score off Marketplace for a pretty good deal. Then goes to a PLM overpipe, Tomei front pipe, and RK titanium catback. In the past I did have a catted JDL overpipe front pipe setup, but because I'm no longer running enthusiast class, I no longer need a cat, so got rid of that entirely, and I'm gonna get retuned for it this coming week to see any gains. In the past I just did have it street tuned, so I don't have a clear baseline as far as power numbers go, but getting this dyno tune this coming week will really be able to I guess show the difference between now and stock, not so much that kind of setup I had last year, so excited to see that. And speaking of tunes, one of the first things I did to this car was the CSG spec flex fuel kit. This allows you to run E85, which in turn helps with cooling, as you have a larger I guess volumetric flow of fuel into the engine because of the different stoic ratio. Allows for better cooling. Would I consider it like a cooling solution for people that may have cooling issues? No, but it's just an additional plus on top of the extra power. Also super easy to install if that's a concern to you. Else, intake-wise, just have a stock airbox with a drop-in filter and a pair-in intake tube that allows you to get rid of this little extra chamber right here. Kind from stock. There's a little extra airbox chamber that you can cut out once you get that intake tube. Drivetrain wise, from the engine back, I do have a Cusco lightened flywheel and an aluminum drive shaft. Have not taken that on track either, but even driving around town and on startup, you can really feel the lighter flywheel when downshifting and free revving. So excited to see how that plays out on track soon. As far as cooling goes, I have a CSF front radiator. That wasn't really done out of necessity, as NA, these cars keep the coolant temps down pretty well, in my opinion. But a big thing, especially in SoCal, is an oil cooler for these cars. So I do have the Color Fittings oil cooler. That was also one of the first things I did, as during the start of this car's lifetime, I was staying out for the full-length 20-minute sessions, just going balls to the wall with whatever tires I have. So if you're looking just for pure seat time, an oil cooler is really recommended for these cars. So yeah, that kind of sums up the powertrain. Now let's take a look at maybe some weight reduction. So if you take a look in here, not too much looks to be done, but underneath I think a lot has been. So last winter, as seen in the previous video, I took out all of the HVAC components. So heater core, the front condenser, the AC compressor, if you saw before, has been replaced with the JDM AC compressor delete, which is a really good option, making it easy up there, though taking out the heater core from here was quite a bit of a job as far as my skill and time goes. But just put that everything back, made some AC vent block off deletes that I 3D printed here and up there, and a little head unit delete as well. Did take the speakers also out of this car. The speakers, they, of course they don't weigh nothing, but they were pretty light. The head unit, however, was felt like 10 to 15 pounds. Same goes for the little center console provision there. Just made a little block off, cut out the inside. That weighs, I think, more than most people would think. It's just a little mechanism with springs and gears and whatnot to have that open and close, and all of the little plug provisions as well. The carpet is still in, all of the sound deadening is still in. The A-pillar little plastic covers I plan to put back. I just broke a tab and have to figure out how to get that to clip back in, hopefully this coming week. The doors look fine right now, but there's actually no window inside and no motor as well. So the glass was lighter than I anticipated them to be, but the whole motor assembly, weighed a solid amount as well. They don't feel super light. I think it would really benefit from like some carbon doors and removing the panels entirely. But kind of wanted to feel a little bit of a street car for now. We just can't roll up the windows, I guess. So maybe in the future, or for certain events, I'll pull out the door cards too. The rear is fully gutted. You can only see the harness bar here that I actually made myself. Had some little end plates cut from Sencut Send, got some bar from McMaster, and then had a buddy weld them up. Has been working good thus far, super stiff, and also provides some chassis rigidity. And then the back, just got the TRD rear V-brace, as well. The harness for the whole car, I haven't gone through and removed anything just yet. That seems like a daunting task as well. So I decided to leave everything in and just unplug what I was removing, but left the wiring all in. For brakes, I just bolted up some first gen Performance Pack Brembos, as I put these on, I think, before the Performance Pack Brembos were offered on the second gen. They bolt up just fine though. So if you ever find a cheap set for a first gen and want to put it on your second gen, just know they do fit up. There's a lot of good tutorials out there on showing that this works, of course. So did that with some normal rotors. Want to go with some two-piece rotors in the future, but for now, just running normal blanks with some CSG spec pads. Those CSG spec pads really last a long time, especially in the rear. I've never had to change a pad set in the rear. The front, however, lasts me like a year and a half. As far as, I guess, track day timeline goes, it's probably 10 to 15 track days at my particular use case, I guess, how hard I push them. I know some people might go a little crazier than I do as far as laps per session and things like that. But for me, they've lasted a very long time. I know they can be a little pricey at the start, but you really get your money's worth out of them, in my opinion, compared to I guess previous compounds I ran were just from Hawk. But this change has been really good in my opinion. So I also did remove the crash bar in the rear, and in the front I lopped off the front support and just left the little portions that come off of the frame rail just for splitter mounting provisions. That also saved quite a bit of weight. It's probably 15 to 20 pounds for the rear one, and just cutting up the front one I think saved about 10 to 12 pounds. Hope to get some poly windows in the future. Didn't do that just yet. Wanted to start driving again. Have been itching, so kind of left that for maybe later this year. But hope to get some plastics for performance, rear, side, and front little triangle windows in there as well. And I think that sums up the most of it. Stock diff, nothing fancy there. Have some upgraded bushings here and there for the subframe in the front and the rear from Racecomp as well. Racecomp makes a great kit for that, and some white line diff mounts too. So yeah, that kind of sums up the full build. If there's any questions, please just leave them in the comment. I'm not hiding anything at all, so just let me know. I'll let you know how I did it. If you ever want to do any of the DIY things as well, let me know, and I'll kind of give you a step-by-step process on how to go about that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. It's kind of where I am right now, and then I hope to kind of upload some more videos on the upcoming test and tune days I plan to do, kind of give my feedback on all the changes, and hope to keep going faster. Thank you guys.